your mess and turn it into a ministry. God can take your mess and turn it into a ministry. God can take your mess and turn it into a ministry. Turn it over to God. Use you. Yes, turn it over to God. Use you.
Listen to the story that you might not know about me.
Welcome to installment number 2 of our stress devotional series on All Stressed Up and No Place to Go. We read for our devotion Psalms 23 and verse number 1. I know you can quote it from memory, so quote it with me. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. These words came from David in the experience of David as an older man. He did not write this psalm in the springtime or in the chilling mid-winter of his life. These are the words of a man who has lived deep, thought much, greatly sinned, and has been greatly forgiven. See him in his palace in the city of Jerusalem. Memory takes him by the hand and leads him in a far-off yesterday. His thin white hair suddenly becomes the golden locks of youth. His scepter becomes a shepherd's staff, and his palace roof lifts and gives birth to flowing green pastures and still waters. His subjects become a flock as he thinks of the security of the sheep, all because of the faithfulness of the shepherd. His mental cup overflows, and he cries out in great jubilation. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. With those words, he introduces us to the subject of stress. Stress is what happens when things don't turn out as you want. Sounds like David, doesn't it? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Stress is what happens when things don't turn out as you want. Our working definition for this series is stress is the gap between the demands placed on us and the strength we have in meeting the demands. In order to be good at dealing with stress, we're going to have to understand the importance of identifying stressors. What are some of the stressors or situations that you find stressful in your life? Your job, traffic, deadlines, difficult people, lack of money, or maybe even your taxes. Just allow all of these, for the sake and deference of time, to represent all of the events or experiences that you believe might be the cause of your stress. We call those stressors. Now, when you find yourself dealing with these stressors, how do you generally react? In other words, how do you feel? What do you do? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel angry? Do you feel overwhelmed? I think that's a fair description of how most of us react to stress. Let's just say these responses represent your reaction to stress. Now you understand why I say stress isn't the problem. It's how we react to the stress that becomes the problem. Stress is actually a pretty valuable signal. Imagine that you are moving your hand closer and closer to a hot stove. You would begin to feel stress in the form of pain. The closer you get to the stove, the more pain you're going to feel and the less stress you're going to experience. Now, the good news is if you didn't feel the stress, if you didn't feel the pain, you would destroy your hand. I believe that seeing stress as the problem and trying to change the world so that you never feel stress doesn't work. After 40 years of ministry and working as a psychologist or therapist have taught me that when you see stress as an enemy and you try to live your life in a way that you never have any stress, you're not going to have a life. So stress is a signal. It's a signal that something needs to change. Suffering is when we don't make the change. Listen to David again. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. So what have we learned? Stress is what happens when things don't turn out the way you want. So by definition, stress is the gap between the demands placed on us and the strength we have in meeting the demands. But let me remind you, want is always what you get when the Lord is not your shepherd. When you do not let him control even your stressors or your stressful situations. So stress isn't really the problem. It's how we react to it that becomes the problem. So where does the great shepherd, where does the chief shepherd, where does this person that you call your shepherd fit in your reactions to your stressful situations? That's what I want to leave with you. And until next time, be at peace. Have a productive day. And if you do, I guarantee you, you will be blessed because you'll be a blessing to someone else. Malakun Shalom. You are watching Church TV Network. Be blessed.
Jesus Christ.